Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Friday. It's 6th of January. If you like fantasy sports, make sure you go follow me on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Make sure you email me, and make sure you double check your lineups before tip off because lineups do change and late game scratches can happen. So make sure you check your final line before tip tonight. And this is the result that the lineup I gave out last night. It was the Westbrook Harding lineup. It had a 293. It did cash in GPP tournament. As you see, the highest score in that tournament was 373, and you would have had to go with Reggie Jackson, Teague, Morris, George, Randall, Joggett, and Turner. You would have had that combination. So not always, using Westbrook and Harding would have gotten you the big score. And sometimes that'll happen. You can't always use the big guys. Sometimes you have to pay down, and that's what happened. Um, that's what the score was as my lineup finished at 293 in the GPP. It did cash in on a 50-50. What really hurt it was Bazemore and Harnell and Favors because they had low scores, but like I said, it did manage to come out top of the 50-50. And what I like to do, I would try to put out lineups that, that have a good, at least a 65% chance of cashing out in 50-50s. That's what I like to do. I don't want to just throw a lineup on there and just gain views. I'm going to put a lineup out there that has a good chance of, cashing, whether double up GPP or 50-50. That's what I would love to do. Try to get something that's going to cash in 50-50 games. Let's get to it. First we're going to go with Steph Curry at 8100. And the last game, Curry had 35 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He had 47 fantasy points in against Portland. We're gonna go with Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon 4600. He's played well as of late. Um, he had 12.6 boards, 8 assists against the Knicks. He had 31 fantasy points. Bradley Beal, 7,000. Last game he had 25 points against Dallas, 4 rebounds, 6 assists in 35 minutes. He had 37 fantasy points against the Dallas Mavericks, and they'll take on Minnesota. Jamal Crawford, LA Kings and Sacramento. Last game against Memphis, Crawford put up 22 points, a rebound, 4 assists. He had 28 fantasy points. Carmelo Anthony, 7,900 against the Bucks. 30 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists in 37 minutes. He had 55 points in that one. King James against the Brooklyn Nets. He expect him to go off tonight. 31 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists in 37 minutes. He had 48 fantasy points. Dario Saric, kind of a cheap play against Boston. Played 24 minutes against Minnesota, 8.7 rebounds. He had 18 fantasy points. And Amir Johnson, 4,000, another cheap play. And sometimes you gotta pay up, pay down to get the players that you want because you want at least 5 guys that you think is gonna have a good game. But Amir Johnson had 6 points, 5 rebounds in 28 minutes. Yeah, he did have 20 fantasy points against Utah. And then Carl Anthony Towns, Minnesota against Washington. He's 9,400. He did have 23 points, 15 rebounds in 37 minutes against the 76ers. Had 49 fantasy points in that one. So basically, you want the top 5 guys that, are going to give you a chance to score high. And that's what I did. And sometimes you have to, the final 4, you might have to pay down a little bit and hope that these 4 guys that are cheap in the 4,000 range, they're gonna have good nights. At least come up with 20 or 30 points. So you know that's what I try to do. Get the top 5 guys that I think is gonna have high scores tonight, and then the other guys, hopefully, 1 or 2 of them will go off, and then and hope for the best with everybody else. So that's the lineup that I'm going with for tonight. Make sure you check my Instagram later. Fantasy Sports Insider Instagram, not my other Instagram. I will post a lineup on there later. I'm not gonna tell you what time, but around 5:30 or so. Make sure you check that out. I will post one lineup on there. So